Hey, I'm Noodle Yeti, and this is a +4 Cord of Threads from the Prot Pally perspective. Please ignore the thing in the bottom left. I was trying to use Spotify as a chat cover, but I forgot that I don't have premium anymore, so you'll see some ads down there every now and again. This will be the only video where you see that. I really don't want to give people free ad space, so I think I'll just find a picture or something to cover it. But anyways, this dungeon actually gave me a lot of trouble. I'm the kind of player who just likes to play the game, just throw myself in, play the class, just have fun. But this particular dungeon was giving me a lot of trouble. Specifically the bosses and their tank busters, or sorry, the first two bosses and their tank busters. Now I have figured it out. I've already gone through and watched the boss fights and looked at their timings and made a plan on what to use with my CDs, so when we get through those bosses, I'll go ahead and share that with you, because if I was having trouble with them on a Prot Pally, odds are there's going to be another Prot Pally out there that needs help, so my plan isn't exactly foolproof. You'll see what I mean, especially when we get to the hierarchies. I'm going to have to change my talents and hope for a drink. Anyways, we'll get there when we get there. But leading up to this key that we're watching now, I actually depleted 4 or 5 keys before this. I can't remember because it was spread out over several days. And I was tilted. Like, I was actually like infuriated with this key to the point where it was kind of like detrimental, where I was just so focused. Like I had to beat this. Like I could not let this key defeat me like it had been. It was just so frustrating because, like, yeah, our groups are disbanding, other people are dying on the bosses, other people are dying to things, but I know it just really feels like when I die, that's the reason why the group disbands. And it sucks. It really does suck. And, you know, mostly that's actually caused by me not actually making plans and just wanting to play the game. But, you know, it is what it is. It's a part of the way I play. But the other parts of this dungeon seem pretty okay. There is one thing that I do want to pay attention to when going through this, and that is the count. I have no plan for this dungeon at all. I just kind of run and gun, spray and pray, and hopefully we get enough count. But specifically why I want to see that, or see the count at the end, is because at one point we actually pull an extra pack on accident, and I want to see how that affects it, whether we're at the end we're like way over, or if we're like just barely over. I have no idea. I wasn't paying attention in the moment because I completely forgot. But that's the beauty of recordings. We can take a look and find out here and now. I mean, you could also use MDT, but I've been hearing that MDT's count has been wrong. I think that's mostly due to just the guy who upkeeps it doesn't really want to be doing that. So it's like you can't really blame the guy, so it's like that's not his focus. I think he's like a Mythic raider or something like that, like one of those like high-end guild raiders or something. I don't know. So he probably has other priorities at the start of a patch and expansion. But here we are, this boss right here. So, before we get into my plan, I kind of wanted to take a second to... Actually, you know what? I'll just go ahead and pause and bring it up. So, here's the plan. And it pretty much... I noticed that the first subjugate, which is the tank buster, happens at 4 seconds in, and then it rotates between every 16 and 12 seconds. Simply because the 16 one is lining up with 2 other mechanics, and the tank buster is coded in a way or programmed in a way to happen after those other mechanics. And that pretty much repeats until boss death, is every 16, 12, over and over. Now, my note here that I was about to say before I pulled this up was that Consecration and Shield of the Righteous is enough at this key level. But I don't trust that this is going to be enough at the 10 plus level. So I came up with a brief plan that exposes my current flaws with my talent build. And that is going to be, the first one is going to be Eye of Tyr, at 4 seconds. Now, in order to get this to line up with the 4th mechanic, I will have to pop Eye of Tear early. I'm thinking I'm going to have to pop it on combat start. So as soon as I pull the boss, pop Eye of Tear, hit its fancy thing, or I could actually wait to hit the fancy thing and the hero talent until the mechanic is there, because I think the hero talent actually gives me a shield for the damage done. I'm not quite sure. I mean, it's not going to be a big shield because it's only hitting one target, but still. The next one is going to be Ardent Defender. It's actually a minute 30 CD, but we do have CDR through talents, so it is actually about a minute to a minute 15, I believe. I could be completely wrong about that. It could actually just be a minute 15. If it is a minute 15, I think I'm going to have to readjust this. I can't, we'll see. Well, yeah, actually we can see right now, 20 seconds, and then I think the next one is at 88, so that's about a minute and 8 seconds. We might have to push this back one. That's fine. Number 3 is Guardian of Kings for the third one. This one's about approximately a 4-minute CD, so you're only going to get one use of that during this boss encounter. So just make sure you don't use Guardian within 4 minutes of the encounter starting. After that, we'll have enough time to have another Eye of Tear. And then this is where the problems really start to show. I mean, we already kind of see the problem with Ardent Defender, but in its CDR. But here is where we have the largest gap, getting hit by 2 of them. The first one, one of these, we're going to have to rely on our low health Guardians proc. I think we have one that's around like 30% health, something. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter what percentage it is. We're relying on that to keep us alive. And then after that procs or before it procs, or if neither of them proc, we're pretty much just relying on hopes and prayers that our consecration and shield block, we're not warriors, our Shield of the Righteous is enough. But then for 7 and 8 is going to be Ardent Defender and then Eye of Tear again. And then we go back into another one of these situations where we're just relying on hopes and prayers again. But this is going to be at about a minute and 4, which is about a minute and 44 seconds or something like that. So that's about a boss. Actually, maybe not a tyrannical boss fight at hierarchy levels. I think a tyrannical is probably going to be about 230. So I probably definitely need to rework this once I start getting to a higher level. But as far as my notes on this, I think anytime I'm going to City of Threads, I need to be taking talents for more on-use defensives in order to fill these gaps here. The second note is I need to pray for an on-use defensive trinket. I'm thinking maybe something like that taunt trinket, where when you taunt, you gain a shield, or I don't know what the CD is on that, the cooldown is on that, but there are also some other trinkets we can use to help us out with this. But that's pretty much it. But while I was watching this boss fight, you'll kind of see a couple of the times I don't have anything, and you'll see that my Consecration and Shield of the Righteous pretty much reduces the attack to about 20% of my health, as opposed to flattening me. I think right here we're going to see that. Let's see, here's a Subjugate. Do we have anything up? I wish this thing would move. Or do we have anything active? It looks like we got Wings active, but I'm not talented into the Wings DR. I don't know what that button is, or that icon, but we have Shield, we have our Consecration. I think that's all we have here. That's what it's looking like. So that was only about 10 to 15% of our health right there. So apparently all those times that I was dying and wiping, or wiping and disbanding the groups before this on this boss, which, by the way, only happened twice, was clearly because I was not standing in my Consecration for the mechanic, or my Shield of the Righteous had fallen off. One of the two. But either way, apparently we need both for it. I'm just going to assume we need both. I'm just going to play it on the safe side here. Honestly, we probably just could get away with a Consecration, but that one was really close there. I think that was about 20% of my health in one attack. And I was putting my Consecration down at the same time, so we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on those timers when we're moving the boss out of the circle. Actually, It looks like we don't even need... Wait, hold up. We just took that to the face. Let's go back here a second. Watch this, watch this. Pause. Alright, so we're about to get hit with our subjugate. We do have Shield of the Righteous. Okay, it hadn't fallen off yet. And that's not our consecration, that's the other paladins, because you see we don't have the consecration buff, so it's not ours. Oh, but we were using that candle trinket. I don't know if that actually has a DR component to it or not. I actually have no idea what it does, I just used it on cooldown. There's just some delve trinket, so I didn't even bother reading it. Yeah, that actually really confuses me. How did... Oh, well, we are playing with a disc, so maybe he had hit me with like a really fatty shield. Let's actually go back and check that real quick. So what is it right here? No, this isn't it. Well, even that one, I didn't even have Shield of the Righteous up for that. But anyways, I don't know. I thought I knew, I thought I figured it out, which is why I came up with the plan and whatnot, but apparently I have no clue why I was just getting absolutely blasted in the first 2 times I fought that boss.
Not even worthy of the 5th strand.
I really think it probably was. If I recorded those runs and I rewatched them, it was probably because I wasn't using even Consecration or Shield of the Righteous, and it was just deleting me. So this next part of the key is going to be a little rough to watch, well, especially for me, because I acted pretty cringe. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I even said the word cringe, but... or even phrased it that way. But I'm embarrassed of the way I acted. At this point, I think I depleted 2 Sidious Reds before this, due to the next boss after this. And I was already fed up, but I was in that mode where I was so determined. I'm like, I have to do this, I can do this, I have to do it. And I was in that mindset of like, it's my way or the highway, just do, like, I'm just going, I'm not taking flack from anybody, not taking anything from anybody, and right here, they're trying to ping to have me go to the left there, to that, immediately to the left, but I think at some point you'll even see me type no. Yeah, there, no. Because they kept pinging over and over, and I was like, no, I'm going this way. Because I already had a plan in my mind. I go to this far one, then I go to that other one, and then I go to the one next to the guy who takes down the boss wall, or allows you to get to the boss. As you can see, I was so tilted I didn't even realize I wasn't following the ghosts. But if I had just simply swallowed my pride, humbled myself, everything here would have been fine. We would have gone through this really quick. Everything would have been a lot smoother. Things would have just been good. You can see their health bars. They're clearly over there fighting it. And I'm actually so tilted and upset. I'm aware of what's going on, even though later I talk a little smack pretending like I don't. And I completely mess up my abilities here. I should have saved myself, but I instead saved the monk. I was just playing really poorly here. I could have played a lot better. I should have just gone to the other people. And in post, I think it was last night, after this key, yeah, where did everyone go? Last night, I was kind of sitting there thinking about it after the key, and I'm like, you know what? The route that they wanted to go is actually faster. So I thought my route was optimal because you go to the farthest and you just continually fight the ads as you get to the other ad. But I realized that the run time to get to that farthest ad and then going to the one right to the left and then going to the one to the right, and then, yeah, I said no, is actually longer than what they wanted, because if we immediately go to the ad to the left and then to the farthest ad, we can take a shorter run path over to the farthest one on the right. It's kind of hard to like talk you through. If I had like a picture. Actually, do we have paint? Let's go ahead and pause the video for a second here. So like, here's the thing. There's the arena, or there's the boss arena. Let's shrink this down. There's the boss arena, and we come in from here, right? And then you got your ad, your first ad right over here. You got your other ad over here. You got another ad over here. And then you got the NPC over here that opens the boss arena. So what I was doing was going from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here, and then here to here. Now, that is actually longer than what they wanted me to do. What they wanted to do was go here to here, here to here, here to here, and then to this guy, and then to the boss. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I don't know if this diagram actually like represents it well enough, but the run from this guy to this guy is shorter than I think the initial run from here to here, because I think this guy over here on this right ad, this right thing, is a little bit farther up in comparison to the boss arena. It's probably more along the lines of whatever. It's probably more along the lines of this guy over here. I'll just circle him with a red circle. Why is it still on the... There we go. First ad's probably more along the lines of here. So you like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making a whole lot of sense here, but it makes sense in my mind when I think about it. And I don't quite know how to put it into words, but I think the route that they want to go is actually faster. I think I'll just leave it at that. Until somebody can prove to me that another route or my route is faster, I'm going to firmly believe that the way they actually wanted to go is the optimal route.
I need to target something first.
Embrace who you truly.
Yeah, this right here, you could see the big dude coming in. That was accidentally pulled, I think, when the monk was kiting our ads back. I'm not quite sure how it got pulled. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care. But either way, this is what I want to see, how it affects count in the end. Yeah, you can see the whole group struggling. People are dying. Extra packs are being pulled. Even if their way was slower, because they were refusing to follow the tank, it would have been better for me to just swallow my pride and go where they wanted to go. Just overall, in general.
Open your mind to the whispers. Embrace who you truly are.
I really wish paladins were faster. Like, I just feel so slow. Like, this just looks slow. It just looks painful. Although wait, I could have mounted up. What's wrong with me? I mean, it looks like only one other person realized you could mount up, so I'm not the only one there. Something I didn't mention about that first boss was that its tank buster is split in damage, where half of it is shadow damage and the other half is physical. So you won't be able to just, like, if you're a different type of tank, you won't be able to just use something like Spell Reflect, or just use something like, I don't know, AMS, whatever. You'll have to use something else on top of that. I don't know what Blizzard's obsession is with doing these double damage type tank busters is, but you know, whatever. You know, we can deal with it.
Was once the home of our sacred evolution.
Like, at least to me, it doesn't add any complexity or difficulty. It doesn't. It actually feels like it takes away from class identity. Like, if that was just purely magic damage, that'd be awesome for Death Knights. You just AMS and you don't even have to deal with it. But it's not, it's split, so you still have to Death Strike after. Granted, for a lot less, but it just takes away from that feel of class identity. Alright, so this boss here, this one is actually a big problem for me, and for a different reason. I actually came up with a plan for this one as well. So this one is a lot less difficult than the other one, but it's a lot more group aligned, I should say. So as soon as combat starts, I believe the boss is called an NX, and he is active. He has no tank mechanics. You're literally just doing nothing for about 54 seconds here. Because after VX becomes active, the other one becomes the active boss. Rhyme Dagger. This one requires everyone in your party to already being standing near you when it happens. If you've ever had this and all of a sudden it just chunks you for like an incredible amount of your health, that's why. It's because your teammates are not near you. They need to be near you in order to mitigate this. But either way, if you're hoping and praying that your teammates are, it only happens twice every minute or so. And it's 8 seconds between. So you got your first Rhyme Dagger at 54, and then you got your second one at 62 seconds. 8 seconds in between. So technically, if you have a defensive long enough to cover both of those, you could just use one, pop it as soon as you get the first one, and then pop this, and then it should cover the second one, depending on how long or whatever. But then the next one you see happens like full on, almost another minute later, another 50 seconds later. Like I said in my notes here, this mechanic damage heavily relies on your group knowing to just be near the tank during the VX active phase. And as far as everything else in this encounter, I really have no idea how I can help my team or anything like that. And like the note says here, I honestly just do not care at all about figuring that out right now. I'll definitely just figure it out later. Now, I don't know what the length of Ardent Defender or Eye of Tyr is, so I'm just going to be using both for now. I think once I figure, if Ardent Defender, it has a long enough time to cover both of these, I'll just be sending Eye of Tyr on cooldown for damage, and then only using only using Ardent Defender. But it is only like a minute between the two, so we might not get enough from Ardent Defender. I might have to send like Guardian of Kings on the second one. But it's a lot easier, but I still disbanded, I think, 2 groups due to this boss. Yet again, it really relies on your teammates knowing that they have to stand near you for that mechanic. Because the more teammates you have near you, the faster the stacks of that tank buster are removed. So if all 5 are immediately on top of you, it should theoretically only tick for one. It should only tick once. And so you only take that 1 tick of damage, but if there's only like 2 people on you, you'll take a few ticks. And you'll actually see it here in a minute. Quite literally, I think in a minute. Oh no, Rhyme Dagger is about to happen. It's already been a minute. See how the one guy is barely not in the circle, and I instead took about 2 or 3 ticks of it, and I went from about 50 to like 30% health there. Does a lot of damage, and I'm assuming the healer was healing me and shielding me on top of that. So that is a lot of damage for 3 ticks of that, and you will get flattened if you do not have enough. Oh, whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to kick my mic stand there. You will not have enough. That distracted me. With only like 2 teammates in that circle, you're pretty much over. You're pretty much done. You gotta use like an immunity, or gotta give it your best. You can't face roll that. But yeah, this boss is pretty much a snooze fest, and then all the other bosses after this are also big snooze fests for tanks. I mean, the other one, you're kind of like, the one after this, you're kind of running around a bit, but we'll get to that. We'll get there. Now, Prot Paladin, these, I'm not happy with, I don't know how to say this, like, I used to love Prot Paladin. I think when I first started tanking, I started on a Guardian Druid in Shadowlands Season 1. And I loved it. I was a Venthyr Guardian Druid. That Ravenous Frenzy with Incarn just felt so good to play. And I just loved it. And I played it for 2 seasons, and then in the 3rd season of Shadowlands, I swapped to Prot Paladin. And that's when I fell in love. I realized, like, I just love it. I used to love everything about it. I loved the way it felt to play. I loved the sounds. I loved the animations. I loved how easy it was. You just get to 3 holy power. You keep up your... You just keep pushing your defensive because your defensive is also your offensive. It was just awesome. It was such a... It felt so great to play. And then I think after Shadowlands, I think was Dragonflight. They removed the holy power generation from Avenger's Shield. That killed it for me. That actually killed my appreciation for the class, because what that did is it turned it from something brain dead, something you could just generate holy power, deal damage while also maintaining your defensive, to now I gotta think, like, okay, I got a Grand Crusader proc. Do I send it? Do I need to generate holy power? Like, yeah, it added a layer of thinking to the spec that was not fun for me. If I want to play a spec that I have to think on, I'm going to go play something like Brewmaster, or I guess Blood DK, maybe a Vengeance Demon Hunter, or a Brewmaster. I'm not gonna play Prot Paladin for that. Prot Paladin, it felt so antithetical to what Prot Pally is, to remove the holy power from that. I don't know. I know I'm complaining about something so stupid, like, the class still kind of plays the same, it's just now you have to think about when you throw your shield. I don't know why, it just completely ruined my opinion of the spec. Alright, so I watched myself there using Click Cast to cast Wog on myself. And I think I'm actually going to have to put Wog on my bars, because that actually took a lot of time for me to do that, and I think it's going to cause me to die in the hierarchies, just having to take the time to Wog myself. Like by clicking on my frame. I'm gonna actually put Wog on a cooldown, a self-target macro or something like that.
I require a target.
But yeah, about the, like, it killing my desire for Holy Pally. The new hero talent that turns Eye of Tyr into a big AoE damage after you use it, like into a separate button that you can push again. It's so cool. It looks cool. It sounds cool. It feels cool. And then I remember that I no longer like the spec. And I don't know, it just feels so stupid to not like it because of one little change like that. But to me, it just completely changed the way it feels. I don't know. I'm going to stop complaining. I feel like I've been complaining too long about that. But I could complain forever about that. Like, I loved this class and spec, and it just got ruined because I'm gonna be rude here, but some dumb developer thought that would be a good idea. And it's permanently set. I already said that I'd stop. But yeah, so this boss after this one, yet again, it's kind of a snooze fest, not that big of a snooze fest. You gotta run around, pick up orbs, drag the boss around the room, make sure there's nobody, or you're not keeping the boss in puddles. But I'm not quite sure what else I could do. Maybe throw some off heals or something? I don't know. Right now I'm still too uncomfortable on this version of Prot Pally. It's been several years since I've played it, that I'm not really that comfortable throwing wogs around and things like that. Although I think at the beginning you did see that I had the talent to heal more, or heal other people for more from my wog. But I think I'm going to take that talent off for now until I start getting comfortable. I think I'm going to swap it out. The Judgment has 2 charges. I think that would actually be also a good thing for if I took the Sentinel talent for this dungeon. I could then separate Wings from Eye of Tyr for damage and instead use it as a defensive. and then having 2 charges of Judgment would cause that to last longer. And depending on how long Wings lasts, I have no idea. That might be able to cover more than 1 tank buster. Granted, the first one, or the second one, will reduce the damage by a hell of a lot less than the first one, because I think Sentinel reduces its efficiency as time goes on. So even if I was extending, its DR components would still be a lot less the second time around. Yeah, I definitely think here I want to get comfortable enough that I can start throwing around off heals to help out the healer get rid of these heal absorbs. Especially if I'm going to be running with someone like a Disc Priest like this guy is. He's pretty much relying on atonement healing to get that up. And so if you can have somebody throwing around some pretty big wogs, that'd be nice. Okay, I hate it when they put crap on the ceiling. Like, if you're gonna put something on the ceiling, cool. But if it's between your camera and the character, please program it in a way where it just disappears. Like, we don't... Sorry, I hit the mic again. We don't need to be seeing that crap. Like, it's just annoying. It's not like it doesn't add to the experience. It's just frustrating. It's the same thing with trying to dragon ride when there's fucking trees. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. I'm just absolutely tilted right now. I'm not absolutely tilted, but I'm getting into it. It's the same with dragon riding when there's trees around. Like, that's just so annoying that you run into a branch. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you had to, like, make the branch, like, you made it so you could hit the branch when you're flying? Like, no. What the hell's the matter with you? You think this is fun and engaging? No, it's just annoying. It's the same thing with crap on the ceiling. Like, if there's anything between the camera and the player, make it disappear.
Of transformation.
It's not immersive. So the next song, sorry, I was looking at the picture in the bottom left there. The next boss is, gosh, I got distracted there, now I can't even think. Just got made stupid. I mean, I already was pretty dumb, but, you know, we can only put forth so much here. The next boss isn't too bad. I kind of came at it with the same mind. Well, actually, I don't know if I would ever have problems with this, because all the groups kept disbanding by the second boss. But by the time I got to this dungeon, I was at the point where, okay, I'm just going to save all my defensives for boss, like the boss encounter. Like, during the boss encounter, I'm just going to save all my defensive, or all my buttons for tank busters. I don't care what it is. I'm not going to greed DPS or nothing. In fact, actually, hold up. If we back this up, where are we at right now? 24, 15 or so. If we go before this boss, I actually pull up the dungeon journal because I don't think I'd ever reached that boss. I think this was the first time I reached this boss on the Prot Paladin, and I actually had no idea what in the world its mechanics were.
Wouldn't you agree?
Do I pull it up here?
Let's see which
Yeah, I pulled the dungeon journal, and I'm like, okay, what do I gotta do here? I don't think I did that for the next boss after this, but pretty much it's only when the orbs are flying in at you that you have to use something, and we'll see how often that happens, and pretty much just make sure you save a defensive for it, that's it.
Enough. You've earned a place in my creation. Let me usher you in.
I do not have a target.
Witness.
Just kite the boss around the room, easy peasy. Anytime you start seeing the balls move, start moving the boss. Because if the balls are always behind the boss, then they're only ever going to go onto the boss. You're never going to have to worry about them, like, crossing over in funny directions and things like that. Like where you see that guy behind me, I think that's the healer. Because of where he's at, we might actually see balls crossing our path. But if he were to stand, say, to the outside or on us in a group, we'd never have to worry about it. I'm also thinking that I should probably freedom somebody else. Maybe start freedoming the healer instead of myself. Because of this right here where the balls go around, maybe the healer might not be able to break himself out in time. I can take the hit. That's fine. Alright, so this is called what? That was not shifting anomalies here. Let's go back a few seconds. That's called process of elimination, and it happens, it looks like once a minute in the fight. So you can definitely just use your Ardent Defender for every single one. Or probably, because its cooldown is what, a minute to a minute 15? You could use your Ardent Defender for the first one, your Guardians of the Kings for the second one, and if you have a third one, that'd be pretty rough, 3-minute boss fight. But you'll definitely have your Ardent Defender up again. Yeah, you can see how they were... The ranged players were farther behind the boss than... The ranged players, the healer, I think it's the only ranged player. He was farther behind the boss, so it caused the orbs to cross over us. Basically, if you're watching this and you're not a tank and you're a ranged player, don't have the boss and the melee between you and the orbs, I guess is what I should say. Like, stand to one of the sides. Either stand in the center where he's at now, or stand to the outside wall and follow us along. But yeah, I think that's pretty much this whole dungeon. I think my key takeaways from this is probably don't play when tilted. Save defensives. I know I should probably record the first time I go through something and then make plans for everything, trash and bosses. That's just not fun to me. I want to just play the game, learn as I go. I just want to play. I don't want to analyze. Like, I don't find analyzing and planning fun. I mean, sometimes I do, when it actually becomes a challenge and I'm like, okay, how do I actually defeat this or get past it? But anyways, that was the run. I hope you enjoy. I got 212. A lot of us got like 200 points for that run, which is wild, but of course that's at this level we get things like that. But yeah, that's that run. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the future.